Last month in New York, the theme was WTF, and I figure that's as good as any to start with over here. And after over 25 years of GYN surgical practice, I had multiple moments like that. I'm going to share some of them with you that happened when I encountered one individual patient at one individual time. I'm not going to be breaking any laws or violating any confidences because we won't state any names, but I'll let you determine which of these moments qualify as WTF moments. The way things worked is our afternoon hours would start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, obviously, and I would give new patients about 5 minutes to get things filled out because we didn't do that pre-appointment nonsense that they do now, and also to get acclimatized to the room. Plus, I'd go in and meet them while they were still clothed. I mean, that would alleviate some of the anxiety and some of the awkwardness of meeting a new physician. So you can imagine my surprise when I walked into the room, saw this woman that was in her mid to late 40s, wearing nothing but her watch, pacing back and forth. So I immediately said, look, okay, I'll be right back. She said, no, stay here. I'm ready. And Jesus, you could hang meat in this room. I said, okay, but see, that's what the gown and the sheet are about. So anyway, that wasn't the weirdest thing. There were two other people in the room, her mom and her fiance. Okay, so we get her all gowned up, and I go to introduce myself. She says, I have a bone to pick with you. I said, you know what, you haven't even met me yet. Most people have to spend a little bit of time with me before they start pointing out my shortcomings. And I started to introduce myself. She said, I know who you are, that's why I'm here. I said, okay. She said, look, I got here at 12:30 for a 1 o'clock appointment. You walked in at 1:08. It's obvious that you didn't respect my time the way I respected yours. And I don't like that. And so I tried to explain to her why we did things the way we did them. And she said, well, I have certain expectations. I said, okay, I get that. And I said, this is also a referral practice. So there may be times I have to leave in the middle of office hours, or I'm detained by some emergency someplace, and we will try to not inconvenience you at all. But this happens. And besides, if you show up a half hour before your appointment, I'm sorry, but that's on you. That's not on us, okay? She said, okay, I have certain expectations like I told you. And if I decide to stay, the next time I come in here, unless you have to trot off on one of your little emergencies, I expect you to be standing here ready to go the second my panties hit the floor. I said, man, my wife doesn't have that guarantee. Okay, so I told her, look, I reviewed the radiology studies that your attending physician sent over. I examined her, said, you have a benign condition. You need your uterus out. We can do that for you if you'd like. She said, okay, I think I'll stay. Great. How many of these do you do? I said, well, it depends on the load, anywhere from 2 to 5. When do you start? I start at 8 o'clock in the morning when we do these cases. She said, fine, I want to be an 8 o'clock case. I said, well, that we'll see what we can do. She said, no, I want you when you're fresh. I don't want you rushing through when I'm the 4th or 5th case of the day and you want to go home. And I said, look, my stamina is really very good, and I will not rush through any cases. I assure you that. Okay, fine. So I'll stay. So she did everything. She did all the pre-op testing and all that sort of thing. The day shows up for the surgery, and I go in to say hello to her before the procedure, and they say the words that nobody wants to hear. Your patient didn't show up. And that really screws things over because now the next person isn't going to be there for another 2 hours, and they're going to slide another case in ahead of ours, and it just really jacks up the schedule. When the office staff finally found out what the deal was, she said, I just didn't feel like doing it today. But she never called to tell anybody. And that kind of pissed me off. But you know what? I looked at it this way. There are two silver linings to that situation because I wasn't going to see her anymore because there were other people in town that could take care of it. So I lost the ability to take care of a patient who had unrealistic expectations. The other silver lining was it alleviated the potential anxiety that I would have had with her next visit because I would have had to been there standing ready to go the next time her panties hit the floor. Thank you very much.